Have you ever pondered the mystery of the Shroud of Turin? The shroud, a linen cloth bearing the negative image of a crucified man, is an enigma that has intrigued scientists, historians, and the faithful alike. Its most profound mystery lies in the very fibers of the cloth, the image of a man crucified and yet not painted on as one might assume. Despite numerous attempts to duplicate this image, no one has managed to do so at the microscopic level, to the astonishment of researchers globally. This is not a mere painting, a fact corroborated by the Shroud of Turin Research Project, or STURP. The image is a discoloration on the outermost layers of the linen fibers akin to microscopic pixels. And yet the mystery persists. How did this image form? The image on the shroud remains a mystery, a microscopic marvel that continues to baffle scientists. Well, what if the Shroud of Turin is a snapshot of the resurrection? A question that has intrigued and baffled scientists, historians, and people of faith alike. It's a mystery that has remained unsolved, despite numerous attempts to decode its secrets. The image on the shroud is not painted. This is a fact that has been confirmed by the Shroud of Turin Research Project and several other experts. The image is instead formed by discolorations on the outermost layers of the linen fibers akin to microscopic pixels. Even with today's advanced technology, we haven't been able to duplicate this image at the microscopic level. The only known method that has been able to discolor linen strands in a similar fashion involves microbursts from high-energy lasers. It's an interesting correlation, considering the subject of the shroud. If this is indeed an imprint of Jesus, as many believe, could these bursts of high energy be the byproduct of a divine event, such as resurrection? Adding to the enigma is the fact that the image on the shroud is a negative. This means that the image only becomes recognizable when viewed from a certain distance. Any closer and the figure is lost. How could a forger working up close create such a perfect negative image? Several theories have tried to answer this question. Some suggest that the image was formed by a burst of radiant energy, perhaps during Christ's resurrection. Others propose that the image was formed naturally over time, due to the gases released by a decomposing body. Yet none of these theories have been able to conclusively explain the image on the shroud. The Shroud of Turin continues to be a subject of intense study and debate. Its mysteries have yet to be fully unraveled. Is it possible that the shroud is indeed a snapshot of the resurrection, a physical testament to a divine miracle? Or could there be a more earthly explanation waiting to be discovered? Could this be evidence of a miracle, or is there a more earthly explanation? The Shroud of Turin also reveals a fascinating pattern of wounds. Now imagine a canvas where the artist begins by placing the finishing touches, the strokes of pain and suffering etched first, a prelude to the masterpiece. This is the paradox of the Shroud of Turin. The wounds, the marks of pain, were present before the image itself, a pattern that echoes the crucifixion of Jesus as described in biblical texts. These wounds are not mere disfigurements on the fabric, they are a testament to a story of pain, suffering, and sacrifice. From the punctures on the forehead suggesting a crown of thorns to the wound on the side, consistent with a Roman spear, each injury aligns with the crucifixion narrative. Perhaps the most compelling element of this pattern is the presence of actual human blood, type AB, on the shroud. Unlike the image, this blood has soaked into the fibers, a stark contrast to the superficial discoloration of the image itself. But the mystery deepens, for the blood on the shroud is red, a hue that defies the natural aging process of blood, which typically turns brown over time. Some critics argue this red hue is evidence of forgery, yet there's a twist in the tale. Biochemists have discovered that the blood of individuals under extreme stress or suffering, such as a crucifixion victim, can undergo changes. Bilirubin, a pigment that enters the blood with the breakdown of red cells, can cause blood to retain its red color. Could this be the explanation for the shroud's blood retaining its crimson hue over 2 millennia? So, we are left to ponder. Did a forger, in a feat of unparalleled deception, not only use actual human blood but also subject the donor to such extreme stress that the blood would remain red for centuries? Did this forger then meticulously apply this blood onto the linen before creating the image, all to deceive people centuries later? These wounds and their blood tell a story, but what exactly is that story? Despite centuries of study, the Shroud of Turin continues to baffle and fascinate. Let's recap what we've covered so far. The image on the shroud, a man crucified, is not painted. It's etched onto the very fibers of the linen like microscopic pixels, a feat that no one has been able to recreate to date. Not only is the image mysteriously imprinted, but it's a negative image, only fully recognizable when viewed from a distance. This perplexing detail further challenges the theory of a clever forger at work. Then we have the pattern of wounds, perfectly proportioned according to artists like Dame Isabel Pichek. These wounds were present on the cloth even before the body image itself. It's akin to dotting the I's, crossing the T's, and inserting all the commas and periods before writing any words on a paper. If a forger was indeed at work, he would have had to apply the blood, real human blood of type AB, on the cloth before creating the image. But the mystery doesn't end there. The blood on the shroud is still red, a color it shouldn't have retained after 2,000 years. Some say this is evidence of a hoax, but blood chemists argue that extreme stress or suffering like crucifixion can cause the blood to hold its red color due to a pigment called bilirubin. So was the shroud a clever forgery involving a tortured donor and a masterful artist? Or is it a snapshot of resurrection created by a burst of high energy that left an imprint on the linen? Both theories bring their own set of questions and challenges. Each element of the shroud, from the microscopic image to the pattern of wounds and the presence of human blood, contribute to its enduring mystery. They challenge our understanding of science and history and invite us to explore the possibilities that lie beyond our current knowledge. So we are left with more questions than answers. The Shroud of Turin, a piece of linen that continues to challenge our understanding of science, history, and perhaps even faith.